Hello everyone, my name is Nick Vlasov and we are on the webinar What's Next for WhatsUp Gold. Today, both with Jason Alberina, will show you many interesting things, what has been already released in WhatsUp Gold over the couple of years and what is upcoming next, and I assure you that you will be quite surprised how rich in features WhatsUp Gold become. Let's start. The landscape of modern network operation challenges is when user or CEO or director is coming back and saying, my application is lagging, my internet is slow, I have the great issues and I can't work. At this moment, IT team is trying to understand the fundamental question, where is the issue? Is it application? Is it server? Is it user? Or is it on the network side? This question fundamentally directs them where they should dig further. Without this answer, they are completely screwed to spend less time on investigation days. So this is the place where WAG starts playing a way different role than earlier it was. And you will understand it, I would say, 10 minutes later. But as long as their system is down, the company is losing its money. Here in the table provided by email report, you can find out the size of your company and roughly understand how many dollars costs each minute of the downtime in your company. This is important to understand for the engineers itself, for the IT admins, and for the managers, because the tools which you will require to use has to help you a lot to detect the issue and to resolve it. And that's where WAG has improved a lot over the last years. Let me walk you through now through the what's available in WAG today. And I will start it from the quite big historical WhatsUp Gold roadmap. It's not required to read it all. I just want to show you that over 23rd, 24th, 25th, and 22nd years, we did quite a lot of features and capabilities that for some reasons may bypass you, but we will now talk some of the most important through, and you will see how you can utilize them in your day-to-day routine. The first one is the certificate discovery and monitoring. This is one of the greatest features I saw in the WhatsUp Gold over the last years, and actually this is the quote from many of our customers who are actively using it. Certificate discovery and monitoring gives you basically a full visibility over all SSL certificates across your network without relying on the manual tracking. So WhatsUp Gold automatically discovers certificates during the network scans, including those running on the non-standard ports, so you basically don't miss the system that are not visible through the classic checks. And at the end you get centralized inventory with clear dashboards showing which certificates are valid, which are expiring and already at risk. And it basically proactively alerts you before the certificate expires, so you have the time to fix the issue before it impacts your users or the services. The second big thing is WhatsUp Gold 360. Many of you could have heard about this, but now it's closer, and actually you can already try it and use for yourself. Basically, WhatsUp Gold 360 is representative of SaaS approach for WhatsUp Gold, and it gives you a single centralized view across all your monitoring environments. You can access it from anywhere, including the mobile phones, no VPNs, and no expose of internal infrastructure. It works basically multi-site on their on-prem and hybrid environments, so that's a great opportunity to have all-round visibility, as it says, about 360. And critically, it stays available even when your local infrastructure is not. So you will be able to dig into starting from WhatsUp Gold and not guessing what really happened. The two more interesting things which are available as of today in WhatsUp Gold. The first is the master secret key encryption. This is one of the security badge which allows us to protect your data with the master encryption key, especially in some sort of zero trust environments and companies who are the target of audit. It happens during installation now, so it will be quite no issues for you and easy to configure as you install the WhatsUp Gold. And the second one is WhatsUp Gold PowerShell module. We call it WhatsUp Gold Ninja. It's a PowerShell based automation layer for the power users of the WhatsUp Gold, which helps to automate a lot of things through the REST API. If you need to do their repetitive tasks, updating settings and so on the multiple devices, that will help you a lot. It basically enables scripting or automation of such repetitive tasks as I mentioned. So if you want to try it already, Jason put a lot of time and effort into doing this. Use the QR code and download it from the GitHub. But we're coming to the big thing which happened in WhatsUp Gold in 2026 already. And if you all know, WhatsUp Gold is an ITM infrastructure monitoring tool. This year, WhatsUp Gold has two different angles on their all-around monitoring. And they are called network performance monitoring and network detection and response. So basically, their classical ITM usually answers the question that the problem exists. What problem exists? But when you need to get in depth and understand why this problem exists, you're getting closer to the network performance monitoring. This is a part of the WhatsUp Gold which in the year 2026 allows you to do a deep network traffic analysis and understand till their host-to-host connection depths or granularity, what really happened in your infrastructure. And network detection and response, this is the security. So this part allows you to understand if there is something suspicious that's happening in your network, if there is some ransomware or malware or whatever else suspicious activities are happening in your network. And again, it has granularity of looking directly into the network traffic. So it's very precise tool. Let's look on the real-time network performance visibility. So here you can see the dashboards, a lot of things that you can look through in the network performance and monitoring module. You can understand who are the top talkers, you can understand the traffic by applications, you can understand the utilization of the link, and also you can look through the many network performance metrics like server response time or retransmission time. And the same you can achieve with the network detection and response, but from the security perspective. And this is a very solid offer, especially available in the Enterprise Plus with the so-called NDR Lite. This means that you can get a network security perspective directly into your WhatsUp Gold package. And for this purpose, we have available the WhatsUp Gold dashboard for NDR, where you can first look and then you can go deeper in the NDR section of the application. The other interesting thing which goes in the network performance and monitoring area is the visual investigations. When you need to go deeper into what happened, you are doing, let's say, the narrow down the funnel to some level of where you understand the root cause. But when you do it once, the visual investigation help you to save it in the visual mode as the tree, and then next time come back again to the same investigation, or if you went for vacation, you can save it and share with your colleague who is handling the things on behalf of you. Why I was promising that you will be surprised, because WhatsUp Gold now is 2026 is able to look into OT environments and IoT environments, even considering if they're IP based, or if the devices they have the MAC addresses, you will be able to reach their network performance perspective, and which is more important, their security perspective, because their OT environment is now well known for being way more weaker from the security standpoint rather than the traditional IT environments. And continuing to surprise you, we are having their AI-powered threat briefings, which help you to understand what are the emergent threats are now in the market. In very easy and light manner, you can read about them and get the full picture. What is it? How it's dangerous? And what is more important, how many such detections are in your network. This feature helps to understand their perspective of the exact attack. So WhatsUp Gold is now providing the details about who and how is trying to attack your network, who is the source, who is the target, when it's happening, where it's happening. And we know that you may be their IT administrators with lack of their security knowledge, but you still will be in charge of security. So we build the special recommendations for you, basically what you can do now with this sort of attack. And keeping the tradition to surprise you from the slide to slide, the VOG, NDR, and NPM part of the WhatsUp Gold now are able to work in the VMware, Hyper-V, and KVM, and even they are able to be a hardware appliance which you can put into your server rack and utilize in their environment with no connectivity to their internet. And we are getting to the topic, what's coming next. But before passing word to Jason, who will tell us about what's new is upcoming, I want to focus you on the disclaimer that all things that we will be talking right from now are the new capabilities which are still in development, in raw or late stage, it doesn't matter. They still may be deprioritized or prioritized, and you can see them earlier or later. So treat these features as wise informational blog and don't accept it as a commitment. Jason, the floor is yours. Please tell us about what's new in WhatsUp Gold, and I will pick later with NDR and NPM parts.
So what's coming next for WhatsUp Gold? Really, this is one of our number one items. It's SQL Server 2025 support across the board, not just from the allowing installation aspect, but actually distributing SQL Server Express 2025 directly out of the box and upgrading previously installed SQL Express versions to the latest, as well as making adjustments to take advantage of some of the newer concurrency gains available within SQL Server 2025. Won't spend too much time here. If you have questions, just put them in the chat. Next, we'll talk about the always visible network device port numbers. So on the screen here, you see a literal screenshot of device properties. So I actually have a demo system here. I logged in, went to device properties on one of our devices, and that's specifically what's on the screen. And you'll notice that the interface name, description, and alias are all stored alongside the specific interface being monitored here. Those are now columns you could turn on and off in your device properties, and that's a per user setting. But this was a long time requested feature from our customers. Instead of just displaying a choice of name, description, or alias, you now can display all three names very easily right within the interface. All right, I'll keep going here. So the SNMP table performance monitor is the counterpart to the SNMP table active monitor. So we added the SNMP table active monitor, and one of the immediate requests afterwards from customers was, can we get this performance monitor counterpart? We are we've made a lot of progress, and we think we are getting near to being able to launch something of value here. So we spent a lot of time refining to make sure that the data is displayed properly. We are gathering the data dynamically properly. It's stored in the database in the right way, and it can tie into dashboards and alerts. So there's a lot of different aspects to take into account anytime we're adding a monitor. But this one we're, again, pretty proud of because of the ability to set a collection filter. It makes it very easy to target the specific things you care about on any given device and ignore those things that are irrelevant to you. So the example you see on the screen here is just Cisco temperature sensors, right? WhatsUp Gold already looks at that from the active monitoring perspective. Well, now you can chart the values over time very easily as well. We plan to lean into both the SNMP table active and performance monitor ourselves to continue launching new device profiles. Next, we'll talk about the REST API corrective action. Now, this one's actually a bit special, so it is something that's coming, but we haven't announced to customers yet that the beta is actually live today. And this is the first time we've shared this type of information publicly. In order to access the beta features within your WhatsUp Gold environment, you simply need to modify the URL to put in this specific piece that says question mark include beta right before the hashtag V, and then you will be able to access the beta features. The only one included in WhatsUp Gold 2026 is this API request action. And essentially what it allows you to do is tie some corrective action to any sort of active monitor change or passive monitor event or alert center threshold trip. So you can trigger a REST API in relation to something you're monitoring is basically what this gives you. We want you to specifically start testing use cases, make sure it works for you, see if there's any additional flexibility that needs to be built into it. Please try it out, share your feedback on the community forum, and we'll continue shaping this to make sure it's exactly where it needs to be before launching it in a more broad manner. And now a bit of what's coming in WhatsUp Gold 360. So today you are able to access a lot of this functionality, but it's in beta as we've been testing it and rolling it out to more customers. We're planning on removing the beta tag very soon on some of these functionalities, as well as launching some new beta functionality and removing that tag. So you'll notice on the left-hand side screenshot, essentially this is showing you syncing your WhatsUp Gold systems to WhatsUp Gold 360. And you'll notice that there's several different systems, including 5 different WhatsUp Gold servers and then a couple connectors in the screenshot. So the connector is a small virtual appliance that gets deployed in your environment, and that is what talks to your WhatsUp Gold systems in order to get the data securely synced up to WhatsUp Gold 360. On the right-hand side, we've been working on a notification management system, making it very easy for people to just add their SMS number and get a text message without having to worry about third parties, dial-up modems, GSM modems, and all the other technologies around it. It is a Progress provided thing. You also will have the option to add your own provider. So if you have your own SMS provider you would like to use instead, you'll have the capability of doing that.
Thank you, Jason, for sharing the info. And now my part about what's coming next and the WhatsUp Gold NDR and NPM areas. Let me walk through it. The first and one of the greatest things is WAG Ask Your Data capability. Let's imagine you have the chat and you can interact with it as with your LLM agent. You just will ask about the data that you need. There's something that you want to look through, and it will start building the report for you right from the spot. On the other side, you can always ask to explain the data, what you see there, and it will give you the explanations. And You also can go deep into historical reports just by typing what you need. And I think this is the great era of AI where we are aiming to with such functions and capabilities. The other interesting AI feature is security event summary. This is at the moment when you have some security event happening in your network and you already understood what's happening, but you need a simple explanation for this, either for you or for your manager. Our WhatsUp Gold NDR capability will provide you their full executive summary, basically the event, security event explained in the simple words where you can read or share it with your management or with some other people who require it. And it will save you a tons of time day to day. Both with the OT monitoring, which I was showing you earlier, we definitely introducing the new IA-based OT detection methods that will help you to detect any suspicious activities within your OT infrastructure instantly from the first minutes. And the other feature, which is called the collaborative AI threat detection, it's the feature which will help each work instance to know that someone from our customer base has been attacked by external IP address. We will share this external IP address within our customer base, and you will not even spend your time if it has already tried to attack any of our customers, investigating what is the IP, why it's trying to connect to your infrastructure, and so on, which should again save tons of your time and nerves for that. And the one thing more I want to talk today is how we see the future of AI in the WhatsUp Gold and in general in Infra division where WhatsUp Gold is living in Progress company. We are evolving our features and capabilities in basically four big areas. The first one is Agentic Assist. We are evolving the natural language interface and are adding the features and capabilities where you as a users can interact with the systems in the way like you interact with ChatGPT or Claude or the other tools. The second is idea to automation. This is where we want you to allow to automate the things in our products, again in the natural language, so you can just drop the phrase, do something for me, and it will be automated. The third one is idea to report. That's where you need some data, some proof, some evidence, and the same natural language conversation will be the trigger for that, where you just ask their WhatsUp Gold or the other info product to give you some data and will start building the report right from the spot. And idea to respond is very similar to automation, but in the case of something is happening, the reaction should be this. That's idea to respond when you say to the system, please, next time when such things happen, act accordingly. And this all leads us to the modernized ops, where you can rule your infrastructure in regardless of its complexity. And Progress Infra in this case will act as a force multiplier, allowing you to save the time, to improve your efficiency, and significantly reduce the mean time to response, mean time to detect, and sometimes even be way ahead of their issues happening in your infrastructure. Thanks a lot. That was Jason Albirina and Nick Vlasov, and their WhatsUp Gold roadmap is now getting to the end. I would ask now to drop your questions in the chat or ask them straight. I will try to respond to them. Thanks a lot.
All right, everyone. Looks like we have some questions rolling in. I'll get to as many as I can since there's so many. I might not be able to, but please continue to pass them in. We'll start with this one. How does certificate discovery and monitoring reduce outage risk in practical terms? Well, this allows you to gain control of those certificates that might be expiring, which do affect your environment that you may not have known about. And I think what a lot of customers are finding is there's a lot more certificates out in their environment than they thought there was. And not every single one of them is critically important, but any of them that are behind public facing services, if you let them expire, obviously you're at risk. And there's been lots of high profile outages from all of the major tech players in relation to certificate expiring, right? And what WhatsUp Gold gives you is not just the ability to monitor for that and be alerted before they expire, but the ability to build an inventory of the certificates that are present within your environment, regardless of which port they are present on. I'll move to the next question. How does master key based encryption improve security for customers? So, really, at the end of the day, the master secret key encryption technologies are transparent to the end user. All of this is happening in the background of the application. So, since WhatsUp Gold stores sensitive data like credentials used to access the devices and monitor additional things on them, we've changed that encryption methodology to the latest and greatest. And rest assured, now every single WhatsUp Gold installation has its own uniquely generated encryption key, which also takes into account the system that generated the key to begin with. So this means you can send your database to anyone you choose, and that sensitive data will be encrypted, safe, uh, decryptable, if you will, without that encryption key. That said, there is a new responsibility on the end user to maintain that encryption key, just like all other services where you have to maintain a key over time. Just keep track of it in a vault somewhere so you don't lose it in case you ever need it. All right. Someone says, how will always visible network device ports help teams troubleshoot faster in real environments? Well, this is a great question because this is one of those things where it comes down to admin preference, if you will. So for a long time in WhatsUp Gold, we let you display either the IF name, alias, or description, but you had to choose one. There was a naming preference order. Now that we're able to display all three, each person can display their own preference. So as you saw in the presentation, there's columns you can turn on and off that's specific to the user. So you can still choose which order you prefer, as well as which columns to show alongside the additional information already provided. Let's see. Someone asked, what kind of monitoring scenarios are a good fit for the SNMP table performance monitor? This is a very good question and allows me to pivot a couple of things. So number one is something like a storage environment. Think like network appliance storage volumes. Right now, we have a device template that's available through our GitHub, but it's an active monitor. What if you want to chart those values over time? I'm going to drop in the chat a link to that GitHub, just so everyone has it. But if you want to chart that volume utilization over time, that's where the SNMP table performance monitor comes in. So there's going to be certain times where you either want to alert on something availability wise or track a value over time. And that's where that SNMP table monitor is now going to be flexible to do either or. Uh, Someone asked, where does the REST API corrective action have the biggest operational impact? Well, that's going to depend on your environment, really. So not every environment is ready to accept REST API corrective actions. But just for a quick example, I was playing around with my home lab in my Proxmox environment. They have an API. I can, in theory, do some monitoring and then restart a VM using the API, for example. Maybe there's a lot of different ways of doing that. That's just one quick example. But think any technology or application you're using that has a REST API, WhatsUp Gold will now be capable of speaking with. You're not always going to take advantage of that, but having the capability is certainly nice when the situation calls for it. Let's see. So there's a lot of other questions. I will get to this one. Someone asks, is the PowerShell monitor fixed in 2026? I'm guessing this is regarding an issue we had in the 2025 release. We actually fixed that with 2025 0.1, which was really shortly after, but we've also expanded and improved PowerShell monitoring capabilities in WhatsUp Gold 2026 as well. If, as noted during the presentation, there is a PowerShell module that is available as well that ties directly into the product in various different ways using the REST API. I dropped a link for that GitHub in the chat as well. Someone asked, why is OT IoT protocol visibility becoming a roadmap priority now? For various different reasons, right? But it's mostly related towards security, and a lot of the customers we provide value to today also have these types of devices within their environment, which we want to increase visibility of all environments, and that's the value we bring to customers. But it also obviously expands WhatsUp Gold into certain areas we might not have been as considered before, but every single infrastructure can be monitored with WhatsUp Gold, and now really in depth with the NPM and NDR on top of it as well. All right, someone asked, what's available in WhatsUp Gold 360 today, and where does it add the most value? So the story of WhatsUp Gold 360 starts with the connector. So in order to get your WhatsUp Gold environment connected to WhatsUp Gold 360, you have to deploy that virtual appliance. But that virtual appliance does more than just connect to your WhatsUp Gold system. We made it so it could monitor an endpoint. So it's doing periodic ping and trace routes to a specific endpoint that you get to specify. So we build heat maps over time of your latency, and that could be to any path that you choose. Soon, we're going to be launching what we're calling Network Path Health, using all of that data to actually show you all of the paths you have taken over time, which ones are, let's say, needing attention, or which ones maybe were out of your control and there's something you need to contact your ISP about, but providing deeper visibility into your environment's access to a certain either local or internet path. That said, once you have that all set up and configured, you can then add your WhatsUp Gold server to it. And in the background, it will sync your information to the cloud and make your environment available through portal.whatsupgold.com. But that means you can log in, see information about your environment without having to set up that VPN connection or anything else in order to get at the interface. We are planning to add additional functionality over time with a few things planned before the end of this year. All right, looks like I can wrap it up with questions. So thanks so much, everyone, for your time today. And if any other questions come up, please feel free to engage us directly. The product management team is available on the customer validation program. If you go to whatsupgold.com/CVP, you'll find the steps to join our customer validation program and interact directly on future roadmap items. Thanks, everyone. Have a good day.